If you have difficulty getting up and going, then this YouTube training is for you, where I'm going to teach you how to stop procrastinating. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Sarah Curto. I'm the career coach who helps unhappy workers go from unexpired, exhausted, dreading their days to finding a career they love, where they make more money and have more of an impact while also having time for an actual life. We do that in the Career You Love Academy. You can find out more in the link below. Okay. The Career You Love Academy is about being happy and successful in your career. And in order to do that, sometimes we need to stop procrastinating, but we need to know why we procrastinate in the first place. So let me break it down for you. A lot of times we procrastinate because something is too vague, too complex, or complicated. And what that means is that when it comes time to do that something and we get really confused because it's too vague, we end up scrolling, or we get really overwhelmed because there are so many things to do. So we end up scrolling, right? I'm not alone here. I know I'm not, because we tend to feel like we'll just do something else that's more safe and comfortable. And a lot of times that is scrolling. There's other stuff. I know we'll go into that as well. But we tend to pull ourselves towards things that are more safe and comfortable versus confusing and overwhelming. And psychology has a reason for this. It's a defense mechanism. It's our brain protecting ourselves, protecting our ego specifically, like our self-esteem. And it's because fear is telling us that we're going to get hurt if we go forward, that if we are confused, we can end up taking the wrong path. Or if we get really overwhelmed, we could crash and burn. So it is telling us like danger ahead. Don't do this. Plus, if we happen to give that task our 100%, we give it our all, and then it doesn't work out, our confidence takes a massive hit, which also doesn't really feel good. You can see how our brain really is just protecting ourselves. And we see it in a few different ways. We see it with perfectionists. We see it with people who are afraid of vulnerability and being vulnerable. We see it with people with low confidence. We see it also when you have a lack of a hard why, like, why the heck am I even doing this? What's the point? So it shows up in our careers and in our job search. Let's talk about job search first. It shows up in our job search by not applying to a job because we're not 100% of a fit. We're also maybe not looking for a new job because we're afraid of interviews, or maybe you want to do a career change. You know you're not on the right one, but you're nervous because what if you pick the wrong new career? Like, what if you never figure it out? In our jobs, it shows up as avoiding key tasks in a role or spending too much time in our emails. I know. Or taking on busy work to avoid those tasks we don't want to do. Because our brains are always looking for immediate pleasure. Now, this isn't always in alignment with what our planning and future self wants. So we could think about tomorrow. We can think, so I really want to focus on this project. I have certain tasks that need to get done, and I really just want to do it. But then when we get to those tasks and we're either confused or overwhelmed, or afraid of failure, obviously our brain is going to then start looking for that immediate pleasure, which confusion and overwhelm is not pleasurable. So it's going to take us away from it. Instead, it's going to have us doing anything else. But just because our brain is doing this and you're normal for your brain doing this doesn't mean we have to stick to it. Instead, we can do something about it. And that's where my 4 R's come to play. This is my strategy for how I overcome procrastination myself, and the strategies that we have used with our with the clientele in the academy and my one-on-one clients to overcome procrastination at work and in the job search. And the first R is recognition. What are those thoughts? What is our brain telling us? sorry about that, telling us to avoid the work. A common one that pops up for me and for others is, well, I have to do this. It's more important. This thing can wait. That thing cannot. This really happens in emails. An email comes in and sometimes we have the notification, so we can't even ignore it, and we see it and we're like, oh no, oh, this one I just got to deal with. Maybe because we feel a little safer. Maybe because there's some false sense of urgency around it. Maybe, but whatever it is, it's pulling ourselves. So we need to recognize what is it that keeps pulling ourselves away from doing this task that we don't really want to do. R number 2, reflection. Before making any decisions on sticking with what you're supposed to do or told yourself you're going to do, or going off like a squirrel to this new thing, I wanted you to check in. Is this true? Do I have to do this? Do I want that? Do I have to do this to be true? And then why do I want it to be true? Is it because I just want to avoid the confusion? Or is it because this actually does need to be taken care of first? So recognition, then reflection, which takes us to our number 3, revision. I'm going to be honest, most of the time, that new urgent thing that must be taken care of, it doesn't. It doesn't actually. Or even before you get started, all the reasons, all those thoughts we're going to be recognizing, they're not always true. So we need to start to revise them. Add on, rewrite, whatever we do. So in this example, it can be, I do have to do this, but not right now. It's really important for me to complete this original task first. I even like to sort of task it. So anything new that comes up, or all of the other to-do lists, like, oh my gosh, I have to go clean something. Okay, well, that's never mind, but that's other people's. It's like, okay, we can add that to a task list or a to-do list to do later, which kind of leads me to my last R, ritualization. This is my favorite. I'm a big fan of ritualizing things as a way to keep me disciplined and motivated to do the things. So here are some of the things that have worked well for me and for my clients. Number 1 is setting arbitrary deadlines. This is especially useful when you have an overwhelming project with lots of little things that come up. So instead of having this far off deadline, which kind of feels vague, but also all this large task list, which also seems very overwhelming. It's like we're confused and overwhelmed at the same time. It's like the perfect storm of disaster. As we set arbitrary deadlines, as we break down some of those tasks and we set a deadline for each of those tasks, which help keep the momentum moving forward. Another is tell somebody or engage others. So this could just be the accountability of, hey, I need to do this today. Can you just check in with me at the end of the day to make sure I did it? Because you know, my procrastinating brain. And then they'll laugh and everyone will understand, or engage others with it. So that could be like delegating or having someone work with you on it in a collaborative way. This, especially if you're an extrovert and you're missing some of that extroversion collaboration piece with your work, this is a great way to stop procrastinating. It's just do it with somebody else. Like, it will be very energizing for you. My personal favorite is creating a playlist. So I have different playlists, and sometimes I've created them, or sometimes I've used others that help me with my task. There are certain writing tasks that I don't always love. And I listened to season 1 of Outlander. I've been doing it for years to help get in the mood. And honestly, those first few notes of the very first song, it's like the opening introductory song or whatever, it just like my full body relaxes and I get into the zone. It is amazing. So having a playlist where you can eventually associate a task with that playlist and that having that music help you, super powerful. The other things is maybe do it in a different location, have a certain drink, like maybe a latte or tea or sparkling water that you save just for those sort of tasks, light a candle, whatever you want to do, whatever helps make you a little bit excited for this thing that you have been dreading. It's like just adding on a little bit, kind of goes in with that revision. It can be an and, it doesn't have to be an or, where we can hate this, but I do love the atmosphere I create while I do this. So to recap, the 4 R's to overcome procrastination: recognition, reflection, revision, and ritualization. And remember, cut yourself some slack, hey? Like, we procrastinate. I just explained to you, our brains procrastinate. It is a normal human brain thing. Now, it doesn't mean we have to procrastinate, but it does mean you have to forgive yourself and give yourself some grace for when you have to fight your brain a little bit to do certain tasks. And join us in the Career Love Academy, because like, we're a community of people who are determined to be happy and successful at work. And we'll be opening again in June. We're not open right now, so you're going to want to get on the wait list. But procrastination is just a normal part of a career. And so we work together as accountability, as that community, as ideas and strategizers. It's just the container to helping you overcome all of these like little things that get in our way of feeling energized, of feeling inspired, and of having the impact we want to have, while also having that work-life balance that we want to have. Okay, I'll see you next week for another training. Until then, great day. Bye.